कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी कुंज गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रजजन रञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रजजन रञ्जन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी माधव जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी कुंज गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस वैराजकाचार्य ष्टोत्तरशत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोविंदा श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, द्वारका धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, मायापुर धाम की जय, गंगामय जमुनामय की जय, भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय, श्री गौरनिताय की जय, श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय, श्री श्री ललिता विशाखा राधा श्याम सुंदर की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, ISKCON प्रतिष्ठाता आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitanena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Namo mahabadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanaya Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kasidupasana Brajabadu Vargenaya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Kumartho Man Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamidam Tatradaro na paraha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, "Thus addressed, O king, Uddhava respectfully accepted his master's message, mounted his chariot and set off for Nanda-gokula." Text 8th. Prāpto nanda-vrajaṁ vrajam śrīman nimlochati vibhavaso channayanaha pravishatam Pashunam kurarenubhihi. Translation. The fortunate Uddhava reached Nanda Mahāraja's pastures just as the sun was setting. And since the returning cows and other animals were raising dust with their hooves, his chariot passed unnoticed. And then that bunch of verses here, 9 through 13. Vasitarthebhyuddhyadvir naditam shushmibhirvrashai dhavanti bhishya vastrabhir uddhavare swavastakan itastato vilangyadvir govatsair manditam sitai godoha shabdabhirravam venunam nisvanena cha gayanti bhishya karmani shubhani balakrishnayoh svalankratabhir gopibhir gopaischa suvirajitam agnirkatithi go vipra पितृदेवार्चनान्वितैः धूपदीपैश्च गोपावासैर्मनोरमम् सर्वतः पुष्पितं वनं द्विजातिकुलनादितं हंसकारण्डवाकीर्णैः पद्मषण्डैश्च मण्डितम्. So maybe last one we could. Or we could all say it together. All say it together, okay? Sarvata pushpitavanam dvijali kulanaditam hamsakarandavakirnai padmashandaisya manditam. One more time. Sarvataha pushpitavanam dvijali kulanaditam hansakarandavakirnai padmashandaisya manditam. And word meanings, lots of words. Yeah, okay. Make our job easy. Translation of all those 9 through 13th verses. Gokul resounded on all sides with the sounds of the bulls in rut, fighting with one another for fertile cows, with mooing of the cows, burdened by their udders, chasing after their cows, with noise of milking and the white cows jumping here and there, with loud reverberation of flute playing, and with the singing of all auspicious deeds of Krishna and Balaram, this is the same sentence going on, okay, by the cowherd men and women who made the village resplendent with their wonderfully ornamented attire. The cowherds' homes in Gokul appeared most charming with their abundant paraphernalia for worship of the sacrificial fire, the sun, unexpected guests, the cows, the brahmanas, the forefathers, and the demigods. On all sides lay the flowering forest, echoing with flocks of birds and swarms of bees, and beautified by its lakes crowned with swans, Karandava ducks, arms and bowers of lotuses. The purport. Although Gokul was merged in grief because of separation from Lord Krishna, the Lord expanded his internal potency to cover that particular manifestation of Braj and allow Uddhava to see the normal bustle and joy of Braj at sunset. Hari Hari. So we get transported back into the history 5,240 years into the past. The Janmashtami, and I just thought, Janmashtami that we just celebrated, that was 5,250th Janmashtami Mahotsav. Those many years ago, Lord appeared, and then this scene that we are reminded in here. So that took place, so maybe 11, 12, 13 years after Krishna was born. He was in Vrindavan to begin with. Well, he was in Gokul. All Gokulvasis, they transfer and they relocated themselves at Chattikara, present Chattikara, was known as Shaktavarth that time, Shakat, carts. They all had transported, not in the buses or lorries or in the carts. So once they, upon reaching their first destination, they park their cars, I think semicircular, it says semicircular, and they all stationed themselves with the carts around. So that place became known as Shaktavarth, place surrounded by the Shakat, like Shaktasur, Shaktasur, cart demon. So carts were part. Anyway, they spent 3 years and 8 months there. And Gokul also 3 years and 8 months. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's calculation and explanation. And another 3 years, 8 months at Shaktavarth. And moving on, ultimately to Nanda-gram. Gokul is also Nanda-gokul, and that one is also Nanda-gram. Everything is Nanda belongs to Nanda Mahārāja. He is a king. He owns everything. Which later on, when children grew up, Krishna and Balaram, Nanda Mahāraja's property was divided into 2 portions. This side of Vrindavan with 7 forests was given to Krishna, and across Jamuna ke par, other side of Jamuna, 5 more forests were given to Balaram. So he's also there as a Dauji. Anyway. So like this, they spent 11 years You do the grand total, 3 years, 8 months, like that, 3 times. And then that's when a crew had come, not come, he was sent to get Krishna and Balaram so that Kamsa could kill them. Hari Hari. So as Krishna and Balaram, they were leaving, the departure of Krishna and Balaram was heartbreaking experience, well, for everybody, especially for the gopis. And just to console them, Lord has said or promised even, I say, I will just now come, I'm just now coming. And then Krishna and Balaram arriving in Mathura, they did what they had to do, including killing of Kamsa. And the festival was organized. This was whole strategy and trick of Kamsa. He had invited everyone for the festival. Part of the festival also was a wrestling match. So when that was all over, Nanda Mahārāja and the other residents and the cowherd boys, they had accompanied Krishna. They were also invited. Everyone else could go, but the gopis, they had behind. Anyway, when they were all returning back to Braj, Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram said, Drishtum, I will come to see you. Eshamaha, Drishtum Eshamaha. What? Nanda Mahārāja and everyone was surprised. They were naturally expecting Krishna also would return with all of them. But the last minute, 11th hour, Krishna, we will come to see you, we will visit you. So, broken-hearted, poor Brajavasis, being without Krishna is being poor, right? Poor Brajavasis. That they were deprived of association of Krishna, and they managed somehow to return to Vrindavan. But they were expecting, promise is promise. Not only gentleman's promise, but this was Lord Krishna's promise. I will come. He had promised to the gopis to begin with, and later on to all the residents of Vrindavan, including cowherd boy. Yes, I will come. I will return. So, of course, Krishna did not return. He could not return. He stayed on and on. Well, stayed on. Let's say stayed on and on. That would refer to staying away for 18 years. But he has just now come to Mathura, and he's there for some time. And not only residents of Vrindavan, they were missing Krishna. But what about Krishna? Was he also missing? Brajavasis? Yes? No? What do you think? Krishna also was missing Brajavasis. Uddhavo. He was addressing Uddhava those days. Come, Uddhava, come here, come here. And as Uddhava was right in front of Krishna, and Balaram also. Krishna would say, Mohi braja visarata nahi. You know, Uddhava, I just cannot forget Vrindavan. He would, in introduction, he would say that, and then he would say, I cannot forget my friends and the cows and my parents and especially gopis. There's a whole song. Brajabasis sing that song. And he also said, Ye Mathura Kanchanaki Nagari. This Mathura, there's lots of gold and silver and this and that, and a lot of trading happens here. They exchange this gold or silver or items like this. But there's no vyapar, there's no exchange of loving dealings, which I used to experience in Vrindavan. What good is this Mathura for me? I'm just missing my Vrindavan. I'm missing my friends, missing gopis. So that is okay. I cannot go. Maybe Uddhava, you go. And Krishna writes sandeśaṁ, message, and signs yours sincerely, Krishna. Must be handwritten. Not typing, then there's less value. So then that Uddhava has been sent. Nanda-gokulam. Ratham āruhya prayayau nanda-gokulam. Krishna sent Uddhava to Gokul, riding on the chariot. Now all these residents of Vrindavan, they were expecting Krishna any day, every day. They were just in the direction of Mathura. They were, when is he coming? Why is he not coming? Oh, he did not come for sure in the afternoon he should be here. And then afternoon comes and goes. Krishna hasn't come. Oh, for sure by this evening he would be here. Oh, he didn't come today, but sure, tomorrow he has to be here. He will be here. So like that. They were counting, well, we say days, but they were counting. Shunyahitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. For Krishna, whole world was vacant for him. And one moment was like, how much time? 12 years or more. One moment is 12 years or more. So then, finally, one fine day, or by the evening, I think he must have reached Vrindavan. As soon as he crossed the border between Vrindavan and Mathura is at Akrur Ghat. And Akrur Ghat is, that's where Uddhava must have entered Vrindavan. And as soon as he has entered Vrindavan, he's having all this chirping of the birds. You see? Reminded. And all that is happening. Prāpto nanda-vrajaṁ Pashunam khurarenubhi. It's evening time for cows to return. That time is also called, what kind of bela? Godhuli bela. Bela means time. What time? Go cows, dhuli, the dust. The cows return. That light dust, very light dust. As soon as you put your foot, so much dust is in the air. Even during our Brajamanda Parikrama, just 1,000 devotees walking and little dust storm we experience. Then here there are thousands of cows, and we have only 2 feet. They have 4 each one of them, and they are heavy, well built. So lots of dust. It's called Godhuli Bela. So as that one is there, that it also says that Uddhava's entrance into Vrindavan or movement into Vrindavan went unnoticed. They were not able to see the chariot because of the dust, and a lot of other things were in the air or were happening. Godohanam. It's amazing. Wherever the milking of the cows, when the cows are milked, that makes sound, right? As water drops in the buckets or pots. So the air is filled with the godohan, the milking of the cows, and the air is thick with that sound. Hari Hari. Not only that, gayanti vishyakarmani shubhani balakrishnayo. And whatever the residents of Vrindavan are managed to do, while doing that, for sure, they're chanting, they're remembering Krishna and Balaram. He is very much conspicuous by his absence, and that's why they are remembering him. And Hari Hari, Hari Hari, while he was with them, those days, those good old days, they are remembering, and then what they remember, they are also speaking, singing. Each word is a song in Vrindavan. So, and on and on and on. A lot of things there. Artis are going on, archanam is happening, dhupa, the deepa, the lamps waving. And so in the midst of all this, Uddhava's chariot is making progress, getting there, closer and closer and closer to nanda-gokula. It couldn't be that his presence or his chariot's movement was unnoticed. Also noticed, unnoticed. Huh? Depending how thick is that dust storm or how high. Maybe some places there wasn't so much that raj flying in the sky or raising in the sky. So they were also noticing, hey, look, the chariot coming. And it is coming from where? Mathura. That is where our Krishna had gone, right? Also sitting in the chariot he had gone. And here he comes. Chariot looking just like the same chariot that had departed for Mathura. So they were really delighted to see the chariot, and they were very much expecting Krishna returning, sitting in that chariot. And as chariot was getting closer and closer, hey, as a Shyam Sundar, his complexion resembles just like that of Krishna. This is Uddhava. He has a Swarup Siddhi, or his Swarup is same as Krishna. No uddhavo Noonam, mat noona. Krishna already said in 3rd canto of Bhagavatam, this Uddhava is not different. He is no less than me. Anu, renu. Not even atom size difference. No difference. They wouldn't even look like, they would look like Krishna, the complexion like Krishna. Not only that, he was wearing pitambar. They did not know as of yet who is riding in that chariot. They were very much expecting and anticipating Krishna to return. But so complexion was like that of Krishna. The clothes were like that of Krishna. In fact, not the clothes were like that of Krishna's clothes. They were Krishna's clothes, not like Krishna's clothes. Uddhava, he never went to the tailor to get clothes made for him. Mahaprasad, Maha clothes of, whenever Krishna would discard, or even he would offer, okay, this is for you, Uddhava, this is for you. So Uddhava would put those clothes on. But finally, as chariot drew closer and closer, and the clothes just realizing there was some disappointment for sure, yes. Not some, lots of disappointment. Oh, this is not Krishna, this is only Uddhava has come. So, as Uddhava is going to be spending, well, I think he's going to spend a few months now with the residents of Vrindavan, especially with the gopis also. Lord's message is for everybody. So he's going to be meeting different parties and sharing the message of Lord Krishna. That is a job description. Job of Uddhava is a messenger carrier. To deliver the message, Krishna's message unto all the residents of Vrindavan. That was one purpose that Uddhava was sent there. Krishna had another purpose in mind, although he has been described here as Shishyo Brahaspate Sakshat Uddhavo Buddhi Sattamaha. Uddhava was a disciple of Brahaspati, the spiritual master of all the demigods. He was also spiritual. He was the one who was spiritual master of Uddhava. So, for sure he had learned tons of things, but there were some things, of course, wasn't possible for Brahaspati to teach Brajabhav and Brajabhakti and maybe some lessons in Dasya Bhav, a little bit Sakhya Bhav, tiny bit of Vatsalya, Ras, but nothing about the Madhurya Bhav, or Gopi Bhav, or Radha Bhav, Radha Bhava Dyuti Subalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. So to teach this Radha Bhav, Gopi Bhav, finally, 500 years ago, Lord personally appeared to learn and teach. He was also trying to learn, understand Radhaya Mahima Kidrasho. Krishna has himself become very, very curious to know and realize and practice that Radha Bhav Samarpayitum Unnata Ujjvala Rasam. That becomes the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent. Samarpayitum Unnata Ujjvala Rasam. Unnata Ras. Brilliant, effulgent, at the topmost ras, the mellow. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to share, and then he also, one of the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanaya Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradaro Na Paraha. These are opinions of Mahaprabhu, and there is nothing superior, nothing equal to or superior to these opinions of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And one of them, opinion or in fact instruction, is when it comes to worship, you should worship the Lord the way Gopis and Radharani worships Krishna. Ramya Kajadupasana Vraja vadu vargena ya kalpita. That is the topmost. That bhav is the topmost bhav. So, while Krishna, he was sending, he has already sent Uddhava. So this is also one purpose, that he is expecting that as Uddhava comes in contact with all these devotees, he has encounters. Some of you are relaxing. As a result, losing the contact. Short circuit. Hari Hari. So Krishna was specially expecting Uddhava to learn lessons from everybody. You could make all those residents of Vrindavan as his guru, dham guru, especially gopis. Anyway, so that also was accomplished. Uddhava was surprisingly pleased to see and experience gopi bhav, radha bhav, as gopis had surrounded, Radharani also was there. And there comes bumblebee, and then this whole bumblebee, dialogue with a bumblebee. It's one of the Gitas. Especially 10th canto of Bhagavatam. There's a Gopi Geet, and there's a Venu Geet, Viraha Geet. What other? Pranay Geet, Brahmar Geet. Okay, this is Brahmar Geet, bumblebee. So as Uddhava was witness, he was right there. There was an outburst of Radharani's love, and the ways he was in a maddened state. He was talking, speaking, addressing, chastising that bumblebee. Thanks, you are chastising Krishna indirectly. So as Uddhava went through all that first-hand experience. So he learned lessons, and he realized and obtained also that bhav, braja bhav, especially gopi, radha bhav. And it was, we had to wind up somewhere. It was time for Uddhava to return. So as he was carrying Krishna's message to especially gopis and Radharani, so before leaving for Mathura, going back, he double checks with Radharani. Do you have anything to say? You have any message for Krishna that you would like to write it down as Krishna had written, and I read that out to you, right? So Radharani immediately gets her pen and paper together and she begins writing right in front of Uddhava. But as she writing, and writing means remembering, and remembering meant Nayanam galadashrudharaya vadanam gadgadruddhaya gira pulakai nichitam vapu kada tava nama grahane bhavishyati. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, one who chants the holy name, as one remembers, chanting is a reminder, as one is reminded of Krishna, then what happens? Nayanam galadashrudharaya. So as Radha was attempting to write her message, her heart was pouring and she was trying to pen it down, put it down on paper. But as she was writing, all that she was writing also was getting wiped. The tears were gliding down from her cheeks and they were all dropping on the paper that she was writing. So whatever she had written is all gone. Then she would take another piece of paper and start all over again. And as soon as she's writing, tears are there, the trembling is there, and rolling on the ground is there, and okay, that paper is useless. Wordless, there's nothing, no words on the paper, all wiped out. Another paper and tears and so Uddhava had to say, okay, I understood your message. You don't have to write it down. I will convey that. I'll share that. Hari Hari. What does that mean? So this Uddhava is a glorious personality. Daita Sakha, Krishna's friend, Mantri also. Vrishninam Mantri was a Mantri, not only of the Vrishni dynasty, but he was also Mantri of Krishna himself. He would counsel, he would advise. Uddhava would advise Krishna all the time. He was also like a family, he was a cousin brother of Lord. Vasudeva's brother, a Deva mein? Huh? Devabhag. Devabhag was a brother of Vasudeva, and Uddhava was son of Devabhag. So cousin brother, cousin, so it's family. Very intimate relationship. And then finally when Krishna was about to wind up his pastimes after 125 years on the planet, and Uddhava kind of was getting some hints that Krishna is leaving. Krishna is leaving And as Krishna is going to be leaving Uddhava behind, he also was realizing that. So he said, no, me too, I had to go with you. Then Krishna said, okay, I will stay behind. How will you stay behind? Nastaha prayayau bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. I will stay behind in the form of Bhagavatam. Purana arka uditaha. At the beginning of the age of Kali, Bhagavatam appeared, brilliant as sun. Nasta, what is that? Nasta? No, there's another one. Kalau nasta-drajaṁ esham. Kalau nasta-drajaṁ esham. Purana arka uditaha. So the age of Kali appeared, spreading darkness all around. It says, Yada mukundo bhagavan ksham tyaktva swapadam gataha taddinat kalirayataha sarva sadhana badhakaha. The day Krishna ksham tyaktva, ksham means prithvi, the earth, tyaktva, giving up or leaving that behind, swapadam gataha, Lord departed for his own planet. Taddinat, from that day, taddinat kalirayataha, Kali appeared. The last day of Krishna's presence on the planet becomes first day of the age of Kali. Krishna suryasam maya hai andhakar. And as Krishna leaves, dharma jnanadhibhi saha, he leaves jnana and everything, taking along with him, leaving the darkness behind, and as a result everyone had become blind now. And then to give drishti, give them eyes, give them vision, Lord decided to stay behind in the form of Bhagavatam. So that's what Lord told Uddhava. No, I'll stay behind, I'll stay in the form of Bhagavatam. Then Uddhava said, okay, if you are staying behind, I will also stay. Of course, he was instructed to go to Badrikashram, give his association to the residents or visitors of that dham. And then Uddhava chose, now I want to be part of Braj. So he comes to Braj, and at the banks of Kusum Sarovar, Uddhava is residing there in the forms of the grass and bushes and trees all around there. Kusum Sarovar. Kusum is flowers also. Kusum is flowers. Flowers all around, the bushes all around. And Uddhava is residing there in the form of those bushes and trees. And so he's the integral part of Braj. Well, I wondered if I could briefly do that. As he was trained now with Braja Bhav, especially Gopi Bhav, and he was also trained in counseling. You have done some kind of counseling to the gopis and Radharani. You had learned and taught also, practiced. So after Krishna's departure, we just talked about Krishna's departure, all the queens of Lord, Arjuna had asked, you take charge of all my queens and bring them to Hastinapur. Well, that is what he did. On the way, there was some encounter and he had difficulties protecting them. That all happened. And finally, well, of course, when news, Arjuna was the one to bring the news, bad news, sad news, that Lord is no more on the planet. As the Pandavas heard this, Pandavas retired timely. They retired, installing King Parīkṣit as the emperor of the world. So he becomes emperor, his capital is Hastinapur, and at some point those queens, they end up in Mathura Mandal, Braja Mandal. And Vajranav, great grandson of Krishna, he becomes the king of Mathura, king of Mathura. And all the queens were under his care. Anyway, I'm making the story long, I should cut it shorter. So at one point, Parīkṣit Maharaj was visiting Mathura and he was inquiring, how is everything? Is everyone happy? What about the queens? And the report or news was not very encouraging. No, they are not happy. They are not happy. So as the queens had landed in Brajamandal, of course they were expecting Krishna and the whole Braj, lively Braj here, an encounter with such Braj, but they were feeling all vacant. There's no one here. There's no one here. Where is Krishna? Where is this one? Where is that one? So they're feeling the pangs of separation. So how to make them happy and peaceful and settled? This was a concern now of both of them, Parīkṣit Maharaj and Vajranav. So they decided to approach Shandilya Muni, like a Garga Muni of Mathura. Shandilya Muni was also another Muni, very famous, popular, and in big demand in Gokul, Vrindavan side. So as they consulted, he strongly recommended, you better bring all the queens to the bank of Kusum Sarovar. Now, they also consulted Jamuna Maiya Ki. Now, what is the solution? How to give some relief to these queens so they could have again reunion, association, darshan even of Krishna. And she also recommended the same thing. You better go there to Kusum Sarovar. And what do? Once you are there, you organize a kirtan festival, sangeetmay, musical. So anyway, everyone goes there. Or was the Vajranav and the Parīkṣit Mahārāja, they brought all the queens there and they held the festival, Kirtan Mela, whatever you want to call that. And they were told, where there is uddhavo, there is uddhavo. Wherever there is a festival, Uddhava makes his appearance. And that is what transpired. That is what happened. As they were doing kirtan, well, we could easily say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And gradually Uddhava appeared. This is described in Skanda Puran, Bhagavad Mahatmya. There's the greatness of Bhagavatam in Skanda Puran. So as Uddhava appeared, and just before he was going to recite, Bhagavatam, which he's going to do it for 30 days. And this Bhagavatam is even before King Parīkṣit, not for King Parīkṣit, recited for King Parīkṣit by Śukadeva Gosvāmī. That recitation of Bhagavatam by Śukadeva Gosvāmī took place 30 years after Krishna's departure for his own planet. So before that official recitation of Bhagavatam, another Bhagavatam recitation happened right here in Vrindavan. The speaker was Uddhava himself. And as he was about to begin recitation, he had you Parīkṣit, you get up. Okay, I get up. Then what? Go. You maintain the law and order while we do conduct recitation of Bhagavatam. What about me? For you, there will be very special, extraordinary arrangement made. In near future, you will hear Bhagavatam, but not now. Now you maintain the law and order, have peace around here. So as Parīkṣit had to, broken-hearted as he was, then Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and Uddhava begins recitation of Bhagavatam. As mentioned here. Gayanti bhishya karamani shubhani bala krishnayo. As Uddhava had entered Vrindavan, he was hearing. Everyone in Braj was chanting. They were working, doing different things, but also singing glories of Krishna. So Uddhava, there was no need for him to study Bhagavatam. He had watched Bhagavan. He was with Bhagavan day and night for how long? Maybe for all the time. They were cousin brothers also, same age. wonderful. So, says Uddhava is sharing Krishna, the form of Krishna's pastimes, or even glories of the holy name, glories of name, glories of roop, form, glories of what? Leelas, glories of dham, glories of glorious devotees of Krishna. And as this was going on and on and on and on, and all the queens were listening with rapt attention, what happened was they started seeing Krishna and Krishna's pastimes right in front of their eyes. And as those who were seeing, we see, how do we see? By hearing we see. By hearing we see. From sound comes the form. This is a spiritual technology. From sound comes the form. In the beginning was a word. In the beginning was a word. And the word was with God. And the word was God. Something like this Bible says. And they have stolen this idea from. In the beginning was a word. We could also say in the beginning was a word. And then action followed. And what happened? Brahma was able to see Krishna. Krishna appeared. So those who were by now seeing Krishna and active Krishna, busy playing different pastimes, those queens, they started getting up. And they were entering or pastime corresponding their position, their service. So 5, 10, 20 got up and they departed. Another 100, 200 got up when their time had come and they left. 1,000, 2,000 got up and they departed. And gradually they were all leaving. At the end of 30 days, there were only 2 of them left behind. One was Uddhava and Vajranav. All those queens, they became Nitya Leela Pravishta. Nitya Leela Pravishta, this queen, Nitya Leela Pravishta, that queen, Nitya Leela Pravishta. All those 16,108 queens, they entered the pastimes, abode and pastime of the Lord. As I said, this is from Skanda Puran, where glories of Bhagavatam, Bhagavat Mahatmya. This is Bhagavat Mahatmya. And by now, I think we could easily conclude by recitation of Bhagavatam, by giving rapt attention to Bhagavatam. And that Bhagavatam also says, right? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, then Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktira Bhavati Naishtiki. That bhakti will arouse, devotion will arouse by hearing Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, and that could end in what? Swarupena Vivasthitihi. What is the beginning? I'm missing something. Swarupena Vivasthitihi. Bhakti hitva anyatha rupam. Hitva anyatha rupam swarupena vivasthiti. Hitva anyatha rupam. Even we have some roop now, and within the mind, a subtle level, we have so many rupas, forms, which will manifest in future, possibly. If we don't become pure devotees, do not do the cleansing of heart and consciousness by hearing Bhagavatam, chanting Hare Krishna and performing lots of devotional service. If you don't do that, then many forms are awaiting all of us. So that also we should understand that way. Hitva anyatha rupam. Giving up, discarding even future lined up forms, one becomes swarupena vivasthitihi. He is situated in his own form. He just becomes a soul. And the soul has hand, feet, everything. And that then enters Krishna's pastimes, goes back to Krishna and Haribol. So like that, Uddhava, as he was trained here in Braj, he was sent for training or some kind of crash course. And so he keeps doing his sharing his realizations, which he did with queens of Vrindavan, and it works. There's a demonstration. It works. It works. And that could work, and that does work for everybody. That could very much work for all of us. So Srila Prabhupada has given us that Bhagavatam, that Bhagavad Gita, that Chaitanya Charitamritivan. When he said books are the basis, and of course he did say preaching is the essence. And preaching meant book distribution. Preaching with book distribution. Purity is a force, they become purified. And utility is a principle. So basically he has given us this process of hearing, reading, studying, hearing. And Prabhupada spoke so much. All night long he was doing dictations of translating Acharya's commentaries and writing purports. That's recorded, and then during morning walks, more talks. That's recorded, more talks. Prabhupada would do public functions, and that's all recorded. So much for us to hear. Prabhupada wrote some 8,000 letters. We could read or hear them. So there's so much sound vibration, which is all packed or recorded, and it is all available, and we should be taking advantage of all that. So all the facilities we have is meant for ultimately hearing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So that's Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Another part is Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So broadly speaking, the two kinds of hearing. And as we hear, we wake up and we become active. Or as we chant and recite, we also pray. Seva yogyam kuru, seva yogyam kuru. Make me eligible to serve Krishna. So not only our devotion for the Lord is aroused, but and that's not the end, just the devotion. Oh, I have lots of devotion for the Lord. That's how a lot of folks translate this dhyan or dhyan as devotion, or even bhakti. Bhakti is translated as a devotion, but Srila Prabhupada translates that as what? Devotional service. Okay, you have devotion, so what next? Just having a devotion in itself is not end in itself. With that devotion we serve. And there's lots of service everywhere, including in Krishna Balaram Mandir, ISKCON Vrindavan, Thamaki. Enough service? You have a lot of service? You have a lot of service, you are. But you should not be doing it yourself. You should be lazy, intelligent. Yes, Prabhupada said that to Giriraj one time. And engage everybody.
Mark, I have a question. When we hear you explain these different bhavas, it's very exciting and encouraging. And in Vrindavan, there's so many nice devotees that speak so much nice nectar about Krishna Katha here, and ratham and this and that. Not every day we can get experienced speakers here, so maybe it's good to hear some of these more finer aspects of this devotional bhava. There's so many swamis to hear from. Should we listen more and more to this Bhagavad Gita from anywhere and everywhere?
Always, we already said, they may be talking of devotion, but what about devotional service? We are known for being a Goshti Anandis. Of course, Bhajan Anand has to be there, but Bhajan Anand is not complete, as you were saying, or complete in itself. It has to result in the Goshti Anand, sharing those Goshtis, sharing that experience, and ultimately to motivate everyone to be active. Kayena manasa vacha kevalairindrayerapi yoginaha karma kurvanti sangatyaktva atmashuddhaye. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Even yogis, then what to speak of the yogis, they stay busy with their kayena, they use their body, their mind, their intelligence, senses, everything in yoginaha karma kurvanti, yogina karma kurvanti. So we have to be active devotionally, and so that is the speciality of ISKCON, or preaching in ISKCON, or preaching of Rupa Gosvāmī, teachings of Rupa Gosvāmī, teachings of Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as well as Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Tumi kisher Vaishnava? What kind of Vaishnava are you? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Kya ghare? Nirjanera ghare. Now in seclusion you are doing your nirjan bhajan. What good is this? Why are you making this show? Get up and do something. Yeah, one person, one of our Prabhupada disciples, he had recited entire Bhagavad Gita. This is when Dhananjay was president here. And this Prabhu, who had recited learned by heart, the entire Bhagavad Gita, he wanted that Dhananjay introduce this Prabhu to Srila Prabhupada. And when Dhananjay proposed that, he's very learned and he has learned entire Bhagavad Gita. And so Prabhupada's response was, let him do something practical. Do something practical. He does whatever, good katha, good this, good that. He's learned. So Prabhupada was practical and he wanted us. As we would go into Prabhupada's quarter and just sit around looking at the face of Prabhupada and go! Do something practical, Prabhupada. Send us, go, do something. Action. And that's why Prabhupada, trouble is, what about compassion? Compassion for our brothers. All souls are our brothers and sisters. So, titikshvaha karunikaha suridam sarva dehinam. When one feels to do something for others, to extend some helping hand, to lift them up, then we are on the right path, or we are making progress. Not that we are just happy, or Brahmananda or whatever, Ananda. We have to share that with others. And that is Gosvāmī program. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dispatched the first batch of Goswāmis. Yeah, you can write books, do kirtan, build temples, so that the pilgrims coming here, they could be involved, interacted with, trained, giving helping hand to them. So our 6 Goswāmis don't seem to be busy. There maybe some of the Babajis or Kathakars, or they're just busy with their bhajan and or whatever. Sharing Krishna with others, sharing Krishna with others in so many different forms. It's okay?
Now they all got to go to work.
Yeah, you just order them.
Go eat your
And you relax. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.